Alright, in part 2 we're starting with Mystic Warriors. Japanese version, just one loop.
Ninja. Don't capture your friend. Game up!
Oh, it's a Konami run and gun, very similar to Sunset Riders. I think it's on the same engine. It's got nice artwork and music. It's got kind of a story, even. And the gameplay's okay. Nothing too special. There are 5 characters you can pick between, and I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really experimenting much with like who is better, and when I tried finding some information on like who is good to 1cc with, I did see it seemed like Brad was quite popular, but I ended up choosing whatever this guy's called, I forgot. And yeah, he seemed fine, so I didn't switch. This game starts really easy, but the difficulty picks up quite a lot actually a bit later. The rank gets really crazy. In general, the auto-scrollers are pretty hard. As far as scoring goes, this game doesn't really have much of that. The main scoring thing you can do is that you can milk some bosses, but I decided to not do that because it takes a lot of time, and I was already having a hard time actually clearing the game, so I didn't want to make my runs way longer.
You'll become fish food.
This boss has a weird glitch where when the boss fight starts, you can't shoot, or rather, you can only shoot like one time every half second. And the only way to get rid of the bug is to mash buttons until it disappears. That was actually a huge problem. It also disabled the melee attack. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. This game has a melee attack and it happens automatically when there's a threat near you. So it's actually part of the strategy to make sure you either use or don't use melee attacks at certain times, meaning you have to be mindful of your proximity to things. The melee attack does cancel bullets too. This is the first hard level in the game. But it's only hard for memo reasons. Once you memorize it, it's impossible to fail. Assuming that you're following the route you've memorized. It's just a kind of a pain in the ass to memorize because it's so like samey. Yeah, if you haven't memorized it, you're gonna get pretty wrecked on this level. These items can be very useful because they give you iframes. So sometimes you can make a strategy around collecting an item to iframe through a part.
My electricity will scorch you.
To my knowledge, item drops are always the same. And I believe this fight will have 3 item drops before they stop coming. I missed the first one. It's a little bit of bonus points. But, yeah. Points don't really matter. Progression is what matters. And only when you're getting the same progression as another player will points come into play for like who gets the better score. So for example, I 1cc'd and one other player 1cc'd. He was milking bosses. I'm not milking bosses, so what I do with my points is irrelevant. Unless I also milk bosses, I will always score less than him. And no one else can score as much as my 1cc by getting bonus points, unless they also 1cc. So. When you look at the scoreboard, you can always tell if you know the game. You can always tell like how far someone got based on their score, because there is so little to differentiate other than progression. This level is actually pretty easy, but somehow I'm messing it up a lot. The dodge move does not give iframes. If you try to dodge through a bullet, you will get hit by the bullet. So the dodge is just for mobility. It does shrink your hitbox a little bit, or flatten it. This next level is really hard. this is where most people who were trying to do well in this game would not pass this level. The auto-scrolling section demands complete memorization and following an exact route with very little room for error. And this does include using iframes and timing various kills and item pickups. When you reach the boss, you are most likely gonna die, unless you've already died and reduced your rank, because the boss on high rank is borderline impossible. I mean, it is just absurd. I've never passed the boss without dying. I've always lost a life there. In this game you do not get any extra lives, so here I need to pick up this item right now. This next section, I've never seen anyone do it the way I do it, but the way I do it worked, so... There you go. We did really well on that difficult auto-scroller. I practiced it quite a bit to make sure it's consistent. Because it is really a make or break it part of the game, and you don't want to lose a life before you get to this boss. I mean, that's not good. If you can help it. Yeah, no extra lives, and you only have one extra life at the beginning, so once you've died twice, you're out. It's game over. So we're gonna die once to the boss, and then just try to no death the rest of the game. And then the next two levels are not easy. In fact, the last level has the hardest part of the game, I guess, unless you count like this boss on high rank. So that took some practice as well. And the penultimate level is no joke either. And basically, once you get to stage 6, the difficulty picks up quite significantly. Now that we've died, the rank is lower, so this boss is a lot more comfortable to dodge. But my weapon is weak, so it's very hard to make progress. If you kill these extra turrets enough times, they eventually disappear. The boss itself has so much HP that it's good to make the turrets disappear. If you have a high rank, you might be able to kill the boss so fast that you don't have to kill the turrets, but with low rank and no weapon power, it's better to just turn it into this, yeah. As you can see, it's pretty time consuming to kill this boss with no power. The hitbox of the boss is pretty tiny, so it looks like it should be bigger, but it's actually really tiny. Trying to hit it from below is really bad with no weapon power. Actually, I forgot one stage. There's actually 3 more stages, not 2. I forgot one of the levels. The next level is not that hard. It's the last 2 levels that are hard again. So that was stage 6, that one's hard. Stage 7 is a bit easier, and then 8 and 9 are kind of hard again. On this level, it's very important that you get some power, because this section is bullshit without power. And we're using some iframes too. Once you've built up some power again, you can just stand here and shoot. And it will get rid of everyone. There are some emulation bugs, which causes some graphical bugs, and some of these graphical bugs actually makes the game harder. This level is a level where it is harder because of the graphical bugs that hinders visibility on two parts. This is the first part here. As long as you do it properly, it won't be a problem because there won't be any bullets. But since you can't see, like if you don't know what to do, there could be bullets and you could get hit. The next glitchy part is worse and requires you to basically do it without being able to see in a certain way, and then you will be fine. The whole stage is really easy. There is no real way you can fail this if you know what to do. Only that last part I mentioned with the graphical glitch is really failable. Very nice music on this level. Both the first half and the second. So here there's gonna be a graphical glitch. You wanna start on the far left and gradually move right while shooting up, and then you'll be fine. This boss is garbage. It is way too long for no good reason. It has way too much HP. One time when I was fighting this boss, I got timed out. I was probably fighting the boss for like 4 minutes, I don't know. A skull came out and killed me. Basically, you want to kill the henchman first, which will trigger the last phase on the main boss. And then once you trigger the last phase on the main boss, it speeds up considerably. You can beat him very quickly. But getting rid of these henchmen requires a lot of patience and taking it very slow. The main boss can also jump around, which really changes how you have to approach it. If you're not ready for it, like I did a couple of runs for this where I wasn't ready for that, and I didn't, because it never happened in my save state. And I was just at a loss for what to do. So only when I figured out what to do, only then could I pass this level in a real run. I'm not sure if on my 1cc if he ever did that though. Maybe he decided not to do it on my 1cc. I think it feels really bad to watch the bosses blink like crazy long before they're even dead. So you have to watch them blinking for like a full minute before they actually die. Like, look at this. They sure knew how to make you feel bad about fighting bosses in this game. Here I'm just waiting for both of them to come to the right. There we go. Just trust me, you do not want to do this boss fight impatiently. You'll take hits, which is not allowed. Because we need the health for the next two levels. Next two levels are difficult, so we need help for those. Okay, now that those guys are dead, we can finally fight the main boss. You can just sit inside of him. He doesn't have a hitbox. And his attack extends outwards, so you can just sit inside him. So it's pretty much a joke. They really overdid it with boss HP on this fight. They also overdid it with boss HP and kind of feels like they kind of like some of the boss fights feel kind of unfinished. In addition to having too much health. So the last boss will also be a bit like that. This level is the first non-auto-scroller that just it has to be memorized. The other ones, memorization helps a lot, of course, but they're not that hard, so it's not that crucial to memorize very much. In this level you have to memorize, like, every part of the level needs to be memorized. You don't have to make sure you memorize every single enemy, but like you have to memorize more or less what you need to do on every part of the level, or you will get punished. And of course, taking it nice and slow is key. No impatience. Do not proceed until you've done what needs to be done wherever you are, and only proceed after you're done with what you need to do. This mid-boss is really easy. You can just sit there a bit to the left of the middle, and then dodge a bit to the left, and then go back, and it always works. Okay, so here we need to kill some of these guys under the bridge before we can proceed. I think you need to kill 2 or 3. After that we need to watch for the bombs. There is a sound that the guy throwing the bombs makes. So you don't know if he can shoot anywhere between 1 and 3 times, and you have to go in between that. And he will make a sound. So you have to listen to sounds to know if it's safe to go, like if he's done firing, or if he's gonna continue firing. This part, if you screw up this part, you're probably gonna game over. Go. There's 3 of those bomb guys, and you have to make sure that you only trigger 1 of them. So you don't want to scroll the screen too far, because if you trigger more than 1, you might be unable to get that invulnerability item, because they will just keep throwing bombs forever. And you'll get timed out. And also the invulnerability item will disappear, because it despawns pretty fast. I think I had 2 game overs to that before I practiced that part for real. But maybe it was only 1. Either way, I did game over there, and felt pretty bummed out. Had to practice. Now that that's done though, there's only really 1 hard part left in the game. The rest of it is pretty easy, I would say, as long as you know what to do. This boss is not too hard as long as you're patient and you don't take any needless risks. Basically, he always telegraphs what's gonna happen. So as long as you're paying attention and you know the telegraphing, you will be fine. There's only really 1 thing he can do that could be one of 2 things. But just because you're not 100% sure of that doesn't mean that it's gonna hurt you. If you're aware that he could do either one of 2 things and you have a plan for both. So, final level. This level has the most critical part of the whole run. Because failure results in an instant death, and in order to not fail, you need to know exactly what you need to do. And you need to do it. So it's pretty punishing. If you fail to do it, you're immediately dead. Because it's a pit, it's not damage based. It just kills you because you fall down a pit. And why do you fall down a pit? Because there's gonna be bullets everywhere, and if you get hit by a bullet, it will send you into a pit. Because most of the screen will be a pit. So how do you do it? Well, you have to get hit on purpose to use iframes to get through it. Any other strategy will most likely result in your death. Believe me, I've tried lots of strategies. The iframe one was the only one that seemed reasonable, and also the only strat I ever saw in 1ccs. This poison gas is not that scary because it has to hit your face to hurt you. As long as it's covering your body but not hitting your face, you're safe. Okay, now we're at the most critical part of the run, well, after this mid-boss. This mid-boss is a joke. Sometimes you have to roll under like that, but I mean, it's pretty easy to see. Okay. If you get this far and you don't have the strat down and you don't have an extra life, it's game over. There's gonna be an item in the top left. First you have to use that item at a certain time. And then we have to get hit on purpose while standing here because it won't send us into the pit. And then we jump up and we jump to the top. And now we've avoided everything. Because you see how these fire arrows, the fires from the fire arrows stick on the ground. If you don't use two iframes, you have to both use the item and take an intentional hit right before the fire at the bottom is an instant death, so right before that reaches you, you're just dead. You're gonna get hit by something. It's unavoidable. And that something is gonna send you into the fire. So yeah, that's pretty bullshit. I'm not sure what they were thinking designing something like that, but yeah. The rest of the stage is not too bad if you take it slow and know what to do. This mid-boss only has 2 moves. One of them you're safe from if you just sit inside him. And the other move you're unsafe from if you sit inside him, so when he uses that you just run away. He never even used it. The last boss is really easy if you know what to do. As long as you know what to do, you're pretty much set to clear if you get this far. So the last boss is a fat, short, bald middle-aged guy in a robot. He's got 3 faces, but none of them are hard. Although he can do one thing that can trip you up, that he may or may not do on phase 2. Why aren't those hands hurting me? Well, when they're brown, they don't have a hitbox. When they're flashing, they have a hitbox, and they will turn brown right before they reach me with this maneuver. Okay, so phase 2 is a joke, but he can shoot bullets at the start. Yes, he is shooting some bullets. Thankfully, he only shot 1 volley. Sometimes he shoots multiple, and then you're probably gonna take a hit if you're, I don't know. I mean, you can dodge it, but I don't really have a concrete plan for if he shoots multiple volleys. I just try to dodge it as best I can. For the rest of it, you just do this. He doesn't stay on the ground for very long, so you can't get much damage in, so it's literally just a time waster. There isn't like a good way to beat him fast that I know of. I guess if you were speedrunning the game, you could like try to dodge away from me a little bit less and maybe get melee attacks. But his hitbox to attack you is pretty big, so I'm not sure melee attacks is really feasible. Okay, now this is the last phase, and I mean, you'll see for yourself how stupid this is. This is all he does, and the bullets don't even track you, they track to the side of you. It's it's beyond all common sense why you would make a boss like this. I'm just shaking my head. I don't know what they were thinking when they made this boss, or some of the other bosses in this game. It's just doesn't have any common sense. I mean, I guess you could argue that like, oh, people aren't supposed to know you can do this, but I mean, just I feel like if you were playing this game for a while, this is one of the first things you would check for, is to see how these bullets behave, right? I mean, I didn't watch a replay to see you could do this. I was just checking with the save state and noticed, oh, the bullets are missing me every time when I don't move. There we go, that's Mystic Warriors. It certainly has some flaws, but I think it's still really cool. The style of it is a big part of that. It just has a good style. Really, really nice color composition. Classic Konami style. And the one woman you can play as, of course, she has her ass cheeks exposed the whole game.
Chirpy 13 says, only caught the last 30 seconds or so of
Hey,
this
Chirpy.
game, but yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, the aesthetic of it and the soundtrack is excellent.
Says, visual style is a huge part of whether a game is going to be enjoyable or not.
It does play a role. I mean, for me, for a game, you know, for action games and stuff, gameplay definitely is the number one. But I mean, a big part of my enjoyment from this game definitely came from that, like, it was enjoyable to look at and stuff. Alright. Mystic Warriors done. Next game. Let's see what it is. Outfoxies. This is one of the more fun games to watch, I think. It's not necessarily the most fun to play, but it has so much personality. Okay, Outfoxies out. So it's an arena fighting game, but the fighting is only done with items, because fighting without items does no damage. You can pick between all these 7 characters, and they do play a bit differently. The main difference being hitbox size. The way some of your moves work when you're like dodging around and stuff, how you aim. And also how much damage you do when you don't use weapons. Like the guy I'm fighting now, Barry White. He can do some decent damage without weapons, more than any other character. But his hitbox is enormous. I think the character I picked is just a good balance. She's not huge. She can aim her weapons. And for me, that's the most important thing, is that your character can aim.
Jerpy13 says,
some characters aim terribly.
Oh, I remember seeing a review for this game once. It looked like an early take on SSB.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't play anything like SSB, but I mean, it's kind of set the template for the game type, I guess. I give it a 6 out of 10. I mean, if purely for personality and stuff like that, it obviously deserves way more. But I mean, the gameplay, it's not great. No matter how much I personally enjoy the silliness of this game, it's hard to say, man. Like, I think it's good. I'm giving it a 6. But I only think it's good just because it's how silly it is and stuff. So this level we just did just now is one of the most interesting video game levels I've ever seen. But we didn't get to see it because you have to let the timer run down. And the stage gradually falls apart and transports you to different stages. It's massive. Okay, so the first 2 stages are easy, because the AI is easier on the first 2 stages, and then the AI gets harder. They get more health per stage, but they also get harder, like the programming gets more difficult to deal with. Every single enemy has to be dealt with in not entirely specific fashions, but like you need different strats on different levels. The level order is random, and getting a level order that you're comfortable with helps a lot. This character is dangerous. Danny and Demi, they're dangerous. But whether you get them stage 3 or stage 6, it doesn't matter that much. You're still gonna do the same strats. So it's what you get the first 2 levels and what you get on the last level, that's like the most important, I think. And many characters are nice to get on the first 2 levels, but only 2 characters are extra nice to get on level 6. That being the circus chick and the professor. Those are the best to get on level 6, easily. At least that's what I think. But I did play, this was one of the games I played the most, so I got pretty used to like what the AI is doing and stuff. Professor and Circus Chick, if you don't have one of those on stage 6, you should probably reset until you do. And you can see the stage order at the start of the credits, so you don't have to get to stage 6 to know what you're getting. Like, you can see at the beginning. And what you get on stage 1 and 2, I would say it's nice to get any of the other characters are fine. But personally, I really like getting... what was his name again? Kind of the stock character, the one I had on stage 2. I forgot his name. It's nice to get him on before stage 3. particularly nice to get him, I think, because you don't want his stage to start falling apart because it's taking more time. This character has enough weapon ammo to last you. Okay, so how does the scoring work? Well, the more damage you take, the more score you lose. You don't actually gain score in this game, you can only lose score. The maximum score you can get is 14 million, and if you get less, that's just a matter of how much did you lose from that 14 million. You lose score by taking more damage, and that's relative to the reward for that particular stage, which goes up slightly each stage. So taking more damage early on will lose you less score than taking more damage later. The other thing that loses you score is how long you took, which is multiplied by how much damage you took. So if you've taken no damage and you take longer, you lose no score. But if you, let's say you take 10 damage and you take 50 seconds to win, then you lose very little score. But if you take 150 seconds to win, I think that loses you like 3 times as much score. I'm not 100% on the exact numbers, but I think it's probably something like that. Because it is pretty noticeable how much score you lose because you have a slow round. Only if you took a decent amount of damage though. Okay, so we got the circus chick on level 4. The circus chick is one of the most abusable characters. No, I would say she is the most abusable character in the game, even in the late game. So getting her in the late game is really nice. Stage 4 isn't necessarily late, but...
Do you think you'll go for a no-hit run with this?
No, it's too hard. There's a couple of things... Going for a no-hit run, there's like a couple of annoying things that would just make it too hard and unpleasant. And it would also be tedious. I mean, we don't want to make this game tedious, do we? It would be tedious to be like, oh, I made one mistake, or the AI did one thing really annoyingly, and now I have to restart. Especially because of how like repetitive the boss abuse is in this game. As you can see, I'm following a very strict route here. I mean, well, it's not like strict, but I mean, it's... this is what I do. I stand on one platform with the sword, and when she goes to that platform, I use the sword, and then I switch platforms. And I just do that over and over. And if I have to do something else, like if I have to dodge her because she's got a rocket launcher or something, then I will do something else. At the starter level, you can't start doing the sword strat, you have to get rid of the rocket launchers first. But like once you're in that mode, that's all you do. Sometimes the circus animals gets in your way though, they can start attacking you and stuff. So this level is extremely tough. Getting Dweeb after level 2 is extremely dangerous. He is a huge danger. So having Dweeb on level 5 will usually mean Dweeb is gonna be the hardest thing in the run. Assuming that your level 6 is either Circus Lady or Professor, of course. He's a massive danger. And as you can see, it's not going very well. If you get him early, you can abuse him, but when you get him late, there's just no surefire way to abuse him. There are many different ways to abuse him, but none of them are perfect. They all have... He always has ways to ruin it for you. Did I mention how bad the controls in this game are? They are an experience. You have to play it to... It's just something, you have to play it and get used to it. It does not have like fluid controls. You can get used to it, you can play around the controls, but like it's an experience. Okay, so we got Professor last stage. Professor isn't really a character that you abuse in one simplistic way, but rather it's the way the fact that this stage is so wide with so little stuff between you means that you can always stay away, you can always try to stay away from the Professor and have a long distance weapon. And if he's close to you, you can always just keep switching platforms like this and you can until you can stay away again. And there's a lot of long distance weapons on this level that you can use. If the Professor tries using them, you can just dodge. So the idea on this level is to take your sweet ass time and just try to take no fucking damage. Rather than using a specific abuse strat. Most of the other levels have like little parts of the stage where with one specific weapon you can abuse the boss quite well. Usually there's multiple of those parts even. But maybe like there's not enough ammo to kill the boss entirely, just doing one thing. He's avoiding my rockets. If you time out the level, you win if you have more health. So theoretically, if you time out the level and you didn't take a single hit point of damage, you lose no score. However, doing that is pretty much impossible on most levels later in the game, since most of the levels have progression that like the stage gets more and more destroyed over time, which will force you to take damage eventually. This stage is an exception though, this stage never changes, so you can take your sweet time and just gradually whittle down the boss HP safely. I didn't actually remember that I timed this out, but it looks like it's gonna be a timeout. And I'm just gonna try to avoid him until timeout now. This wasn't the only time I no-damaged Professor on stage 6. So I didn't remember, I honestly didn't remember ever doing it with a timeout. So the hospital bill, that's how much score you lost. So the final level is quite interesting. Instead of being like a one-on-one fighting arena, it's more like lots of little obstacles, lots of individual parts. So this first part, I never understood how to avoid taking damage altogether. But taking this little damage isn't gonna massively decrease your score, so I didn't bother trying to figure out what I was doing wrong there. Usually I took a little bit of damage from those dogs hitting me like one time. For this part the controls are extremely awful, so it's best to be really careful. The water will push you, but only the front of the water. So you can jump into the other water. Okay, what's coming up is the make or break it part of this level. Everything else is easy. But it's these grenades, or specifically the grenades when you jump down. That's the important part. That's like the most make or break part of the whole game, even. First of all, there's some electricity here, and it's RNG, and you have to wait for 2 of these electricity to line up so you can fall down, which it did there. And now here, this is the hardest part of the game. You have to get lucky. Assuming that you're not playing one of the tiny characters, Dweeb and the kids, you have to get lucky. With those characters, you don't have to get lucky, I think, because your hitbox is smaller. So I got lucky. If you don't get lucky, you'll get hit by a grenade. When you have to jump on the stairs, and then when you jump on the stairs, you have to jump again from the stairs to throw the grenade and have it reach. And while you're doing that, the boss is going to throw a grenade at you, and if that grenade hits you, it will push you back, and you'll get exploded. Because the grenade that you were holding will fall out of your hand and explode on you. And it's just RNG if they will throw a grenade, like they have RNG if they throw grenades high or low. If they throw it high, it will miss you. If they don't throw it high, it will hit you and you will take a shitload of damage. And I've had I think multiple runs that were going fairly well, just like this run, but the grenades there screwed me over. So yeah, kind of sucks, but that's what happens. I'm not sure there's any solution for that, other than switching to a Dweeb or Demi and Danny and Demi. So when you beat this game with specific characters, you get all these little pictures showing you what she's doing
Chirpy13
when she's
says,
rich.
I like how he only takes one life bar falling out of a helicopter, but having a fat lady fall on him kills him.
Yeah, it's funny. This is a funny game. It's got good personality. This is a fun game to just play with different characters and see different endings too. The kids are basically psychopaths. The monkey is a monkey, so the concept of money for him, I guess it's like bananas. And I don't think I cleared with the... I may have cleared with the professor. But from what I remember, I didn't like using the professor. I don't remember what his ending was. Alright, it was fun. Now we're gonna jump back to the past, a bit older. Pepper 2. Pepper 2 is pretty interesting.
Says, does the monkey get a banana trove like the ending of Donkey Kong Country?
I don't think he does. Where is my Pepper 2 in INP? Oh, could it be this one? I just named it Luck. It might be this. Yeah, Luck. Okay. When I was playing this, I was a bit frustrated by how luck-based this game is. This is definitely the most luck-based game of all of these. But I don't know. I heard that you can make specific patterns for this game, but can you really? I mean, I guess maybe you can, but it doesn't seem like you can. Because once you play this game for a while, one of the mazes just seems like luck to me. Like, how quickly do enemies come out, where do they come out, relative to you clearing the maze. Anyway, so this game is like a mixture between kicks, or I'm not sure how to pronounce that game. It's a Q, so shakes, kicks, and Pac-Man. So you draw these lines, and if you walk over a line you've already drawn, it disappears. However, if you've completed one of the shapes, the lines do not disappear. If you complete a shape with I don't know what that is. Pitchfork? I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, you can see it's got like a free edges there, whatever it is. If you complete a shape with one of those, you get invulnerable and you can eat enemies like kind of like Pac-Man. However, as it turns out, eating enemies is bad. In general, it's bad. I mean, eating enemies on the way of completing shapes is fine, but like going out of your way to eat enemies is not worth it in this game. It doesn't give a lot of points, and this game loops. So when you keep looping this game, it gets so fast that trying to do that is suicidal, and you need to just keep creating shapes and make sure you're permanently invulnerable. That's the way to play. So there's 4 mazes. Your goal is to complete all 4 mazes. You can leave a maze incomplete and go to another maze, but that does have its drawbacks to do. So you don't want to do that needlessly. You only want to do that if you feel like you have no choice. It's better to try to complete each maze one by one if possible. Points is mostly just playing the game normally, because if you complete a shape with special items in them, that gives you bonus points, and the further into the game you get, the more points you get from that. So basically, most of the points you get in this game is just automatic from progression. You see that one that I got there, it will keep ticking up to get you points each tick, and during those ticks the game is basically stopped, so you can't die. And the ticks just keep increasing the farther into the game you get. So eventually you will get a lot of ticks from that and get tons of points. So now that we've completed the first loop, sometimes the stages go invisible. It's a bit annoying, but the only counter for that is to memorize the mazes exactly. Oh right, I forgot to change the overlay here. Pepper 2. I give this a 6 as well. Lots of 6s. What was my rank? 3. This game is pretty good for its time. But there's something missing to be truly great. And I think the luck part can be a bit annoying, because in this game you can't really like dodge enemies from loop 3 onwards or something like that. You can't really dodge enemies much. You have to just keep getting invulnerable over and over. The enemies are just too fast and unpredictable, and the hitboxes are very big as well. Your own movement is also a bit awkward in this game. It's a bit hard to explain, but basically when you're moving from point A to point B, you're like gliding. You're like gliding, and you can't really stop. Hard to explain it better than that, but yeah, you see how like each corner of the shapes has like a point. That's like a shake point for you, and in between you're just gliding. You can switch directions, but you can't really stop. Like you can switch and go backwards. Enemies can pop out of the exits at any point, even if you are at the exits. Looks like I had a pretty bad early game. I think I've died 3 times. And I'm not even close to clearing loop 3 yet. That's a lot of early deaths. I think this game is a lot more fun than Pac-Man. It's not bad. But yeah, it's not for everyone, of course. That guy eats your lines, he's so annoying. Oh my god, that was close.
Interesting for sure, but I don't think I want to play it still.
Yeah, like, you just don't like the genre, I guess. I mean, Pac-Man is super overrated. It's it is one of the most overrated games from that era. No doubt about it. And I used to like it. When I was bad at it, I thought, "Ah, this is fun." But when I learned how to play, I thought, "This is shit. This is garbage." When I got a little better, I thought it was garbage.
Chirpy13 says, Pac-Man is definitely a nostalgia thing. It was a lot of people's first game for older generations.
It's a nostalgia thing, and it's also like a lack of experience thing, I think. Like, if you experience more games that are even vaguely similar to Pac-Man, I don't see why you would choose Pac-Man over some of them. Unless you're just so... I think for a lot of people that get kind of obsessed with Pac-Man is that it's... they love that sense of familiarity, like, I know how to do this, I've learned this, I want to keep doing the same thing forever. Probably that kind of thing, you know? I want to keep doing the same thing forever, I never want to learn anything different. So they've gotten so attached to Pac-Man, even though it's not very good. They don't want to learn anything better. You gotta remember, Pac-Man is completely patterned. It's literally just repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Some really close calls here. Like I said, the enemy hitboxes are huge.
Chirpy13 says, yeah, if I have to be fair with Pac-Man, it was at least probably one of the better home console games in the Atari era.
Yeah, I mean, you have so much crap to compete with back then, right? At that time, I wouldn't say Pac-Man was a crap game necessarily. Although there, of course, was better. But when you've entered the 90s, that's...
Because it was good, rather that everything else was absolutely terrible.
When you've entered the 90s, there's kinda not much reason to play Pac-Man anymore, I think. I mean, you've got great PC games, great console games, and great arcade games, and even handheld games are, you know, starting to get better. Just think about what you could play in 1990. On console, you could play Mario free. You could play Zelda 2. You could play freaking Undead Line.
Even in the 80s when arcade games were getting really good and NES came out.
Yeah, I mean mid 80s, there were starting to appear
Chirpy13 says,
different kinds of games. I mean, I think games were transforming. Games were transforming to a much higher degree in like the mid 80s than they ever really had before. And from the mid 80s onwards, like every new year, it's like the technology just keeps allowing for completely new things. So for like early 80s games and even games even older than that, they just had to be resourceful with what they had, and sometimes they could make something great out of it. Pac-Man was just not one of those games. Pac-Man was always kind of a pain in the ass. And really boring. Really boring. Look at all those ticks. Okay, so I think those ice cubes are like, which loop you're on? So I guess this is loop 5. Now there's some slowdown getting introduced too. The enemies are so fast. It's fucking scary. Massive points.
Chirpy13 says, those ice cubes remind me of the Gradius 3 cubes.
Yeah, they kind of look like Gradius 3 ice cubes. slowdown. Oh my god. I wanted to complete that, but I guess I didn't complete it. So, respawning in this game sucks. Yeah, as you can see, respawning sucks. It sucks a lot. Okay, that was Pepper 2. Pretty interesting game. Next is Rabio Lepus. Now, I was complaining a lot about this. But that's because it got so boring because I learned what to do. What's my IP called? If you learn what to do, the game gets really boring. And it doesn't take long to learn what to do. There's not much to learn. But the game's not that bad to play like a few times. So, despite all my complaining, I'm not gonna give it like a garbage rating. I think a 5. 5 seems fair. It's okay to play a couple of times, and if you keep playing it over and over, you're probably in the same spot I was. You're playing in a tournament and you want a good placement, and it's like the sunk cost fallacy. Like, oh, I've played this for a while. I want to get a better score because I know how to get it, and I want to get it. What the fuck? Oh no. Someone's keeping track of my awful tournament disappointments. Yeah, honestly, those two are pretty disappointing for me as well. I mean, I tried getting that double kill in Willow so many fucking times, and I never got it in a real run. Somehow, even though in practice I was getting it often enough that I should have had it a ton of times. How many times did I do it? Was it 20? I think it was around 20 attempts. I wrote it down, but I can't remember. Around 20 attempts in real runs. 0 successes. And, you know, in practice it was maybe like 1 in 3, 1 in 4. It definitely wasn't worse than 1 in 4 to get it. So yeah, like 20 attempts. I was fucked. You get like... What was it? I think you get like 3 attempts per run.
13 says, doesn't Willow have like 3 different versions and all of them are a completely different game?
Yeah, there was an NES game that got released the same year, and also by Capcom, I think. And that was like a RPG, like a Zelda type overhead pseudo RPG, I think. I remember playing that on emulator ages ago when I was like 10 years old. But yeah, the arcade game is just a side-scrolling action game. So this game, it's a shmup, but there is a health bar, lots of rank. You don't have traditional bombs, but you collect these missiles, which are like weak bombs basically. They don't give you iframes though. Yeah, Willow is based on the movie, which is like some kind of fantasy. I remember watching Willow as well when I was like 10, but I can't really remember much from it other than that there was well, the guy you play as, Willow, like hobbits.
The defining factor of this game for me is how bad your weapon is. It's almost like a Galaga style.
Yeah, so in this game the enemies float up and down a lot and it can be hard to hit them. Item drops are random, so have fun with that. Like there's invulnerability items, but they're all random. The carrots give you health, those are random. There's score items, those are random. There's missile drops, those are random. And then there's the ribbon, which increases the rank substantially, but it makes your bombs stronger. Also random, which is fun, because you have to have a ribbon at the end of the game for a score bonus. Two different types of score bonuses even. This game does not have iframes in between taking hits. So if you go inside of an enemy, you immediately die. And if you get hit by 3 bullets on top of each other, let's say, you will immediately die. So, yeah. Obama face enemies. I never looked at them as Obama. If you have too many missiles in stock, the rank spikes. I think it's 1.5 bars. It might be slightly less, but I think it's like 1.5 bars. So you want to make sure your missile count is less than 1.5 bars. If you have too many missiles, just use some missiles, no matter what's they're for. Just use them. Because when the rank spikes from that, like the bullets get way faster. It is very noticeable.
Thank you.
I guess one of the more enjoyable aspects of the game is that the bullets get kind of fast. It's just that the game doesn't use that enough. Like, the bullets getting fast isn't really the main thing about the game that gets hard. It's pretty minor. It's just that I personally think fast bullets tend to be fun, so I think that's like a redeeming aspect. It's just such a shame that you don't really dodge the bullets much in this game. This level is a step up in difficulty, but it is easily memorized, and with some memorization it is not an issue. There are 2 levels in this game that are huge difficulty spikes that are completely insane, where a big part of the strat is to lose lives and lower the rank, and also to find invulnerability items. Now you can strategize those levels, so you can no-miss those levels, you can make a strategy, but the levels are so chaotic that I didn't feel like memorizing them entirely. It didn't feel like it was necessary, because I would usually make it through them with some deaths and lowering the rank. When the rank is super low on your last life, you can usually stay on your last life and not game over. So it didn't feel necessary to learn those levels entirely. Even though I repeated them a lot, there's just so much shit going on that it's hard to memorize. Right now the rank went up because of my missile count, so I want to use some missiles at some point.
Project Ego says, I think the heads are not big enough or A-shaped enough to be Obama.
Yeah, I never saw Obama. I'm getting a lot of invulnerability items this run. This is more than like I've ever seen this early in the game.
Jerky13 says,
The music in this game is kind of weird, but I don't really dislike it. It's hard to put my finger on. Like, it sounds kind of rough and metallic, but it can also sound a bit cute too. It's weird.
Jerky13
It's weird.
says, Ghost Boss is pretty cool.
Okay, so this level is really obnoxious, but when you have a good strategy, it's doable. You just need to have a good strategy. These enemies insta-kill you, so you cannot let them do that. You cannot let them live, because they stay on the screen forever. They just never go away. So if you don't kill them when you get here, you're gonna die. This guy is invulnerable, but he loses his invulnerability right there, so we just time missiles. You have to press this button with your fist, and it's super precise. Okay, so usually I don't die this early in the game, and doing it is really bad, because the next 2 levels are crazy, especially the mammoth level. Totally crazy, so dying here actually reduces my chances of not game overing significantly. But like I mentioned, on your last life the rank is gonna be way lower, so usually on your last life you can manage a lot more easily, so that's why even if you do lose a life before the 2 hard levels, you might just be fine. Especially if you get lucky with invulnerability items. At this point in the game, it's important to conserve missiles, because we need to have a good number of missiles for the mammoth to get points. And then if you want to 1cc the game, you also need, if you have the ribbon, you don't have to have, but you should have at least 1 set of missiles. And if you don't have the ribbon, you should try to have at least 2 sets of missiles to comfortably 1cc for the final boss. Because the final boss is completely stupid. It is invulnerable until you've done enough damage to his, like, the death enemy. And doing that without missiles is stupid. So this level is way harder than anything that comes before it, and the level that comes after this one is way harder than this one. The strategy for this level is, for me, is mostly just trying to get hoping I get invulnerability items. So far I didn't get any, but since I started it on my second life, the rank is lower and it is more manageable. Oh, see, that enemy jumped through the pillar. That's so stupid. And then we get an invulnerability item, of course, when we no longer need one. Yeah, normally I would lose 1 life on this level and then 2 lives on the next level. But this time I have to lose 1 life on the next level instead.
Stage 10.
Well, mistakes have been made. Now the rank is super low though, so... But I have to be careful that I don't use too many missiles. I need to conserve my missiles for the mammoth. I also need to get a ribbon. Without the ribbon, the run is over. There's the ribbon. It's random, so sometimes you don't get one. Have fun with that. We've lost many runs to that. And now you just need to keep the ribbon for the rest of the game. That gives you plus 2 million, and also you get more score from bombing this mammoth if you have a ribbon, because it powers up your bombs. Okay, so now we're gonna do the score trick. Unfortunately, I never got lucky on the score trick in real runs, so this run is no exception to that. We got very unlucky there. This run could have been a 12 million run if I got lucky on the mammoth, but that's never happened. Even though it happens pretty often in save states. It sucks, but what can you do? It's sad. Like I almost want to do it again and get it right, but no, the game is not fun enough. Who cares if like it's easy to get 12 million in this game. It is not hard. Or a high 11 million is easy. High 11 million. Now, for the rest of the game, we need to make sure we don't take any hits. Taking a hit loses you the ribbon, and that will lose you 2 million. Now, it is possible to pick up the ribbon if you get hit. It's possible, but it's not a sure thing. Because the ribbon will scroll with the screen. The ribbon will move backwards. And your move speed backwards is slow in this game. So if you can react immediately that you took a hit and you go backwards, you can pick up the ribbon if you're not too far to the left when it happens. But it's not a sure thing, so it's best to just assume that you need to take 0 hits. We have 4 missiles, which is enough to comfortably 1 CC last boss. I think it shoots like 3 missiles at a time, so we can use 3 and then 1. I think that's how it works. With a ribbon, that's enough.
C.O.W.
There we go. If you don't have missiles, this is not what would happen. You would be stuck and you would not be able to progress. It's not fun, but that's reality. And then you will get timed out. There we go, it's 600k for the boss kill and then 2 million from the ribbon. You can get even more points by no missing the game. If you no miss the game, that's another 2 million. So that's how you would get 14 million plus. I forgot what is the record for this. If it's significantly higher, I guess it's mostly just even more mammoth luck or something. I'm not sure how high the mammoth can go, but I don't know what else you can do. You get more. There are some bosses you could get more points on.
It's like 18M.
But it's not much. Yeah, 18M. Like there's gotta be something more to the game than what we know. Yeah, there's gotta be something more. Because adding up the little things is not gonna get you up to 18M. Okay. Next game, Salamander. I played this game very little because I really did not like it. I just played it on the last day just to get a score up. It's not as hard. I've heard a lot of people say this game is really hard to 1cc. It seems pretty easy to me actually. I got pretty close and I didn't play it for very long. Salamander. But it sucks. It sucks so much to play this. It's terrible. Terrible. Salamander 2 is way better. Alright, so Salamander. I got 5th. I'd give this a 2.
I only played Salamander 2 and I like that one a lot.
Salamander 2 is pretty good.
Project Ghost says, I don't think I ever saw this game on the screen.
Yeah, I only played it on the last day. Let's see, I'm gonna check what I played on the last day. I played Salamander and Rabio on the last day. It looks like I got this run with about 1 hour left on the tournament, and then I got the Rabio run with like 20 minutes left. So this is a one life game, meaning if you die, you don't recover. It's stupid. There seems to be no extra lives in the game either. The stage design is just unforgivable. You don't do anything in this game. Straight up. This is a game that's played by doing nothing. I know I've criticized some old horizontal shmups for this, but this game has got to be one of the worst examples. The first level is actually one of the most active ones. For some reason. Once you're done with the first level, it doesn't get more active. It actually, most of the levels actually get less active. With level 3 being the worst example. And it's not like you do much on level 1. The game is full of slowdown and the bosses are some serious nonsense too. I can't even remember much about this level other than that there's some asteroids. You don't have to memorize anything on this level, just move. Just go. I just pick up like all items I see, unless it's a speed item.
I don't like most Gradius style shmups, and this game embodies everything I hate.
Yeah, like Gradius games are way better than this game. All of them. Yes, even 3 is a lot better than this. And I know 3 has some massive flaws, but it's just a lot more involving than this game. You're gonna see, like, when we get to stage 3, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I can't believe what a bad level that is. And see, the game slows down too. Like you're barely doing anything, and the game slows down during it.
I like how Salamander 2 had those cool homing options that you can throw at enemies.
Oh yeah, it did have that. It's been so long since I played that. I don't think I've played that since STGT. That's like 10 years ago. I just remember it being a decently fun game. With some, I remember it having some score tricks that I used. I can't remember. I mean, I can remember some of the bosses and some parts of the levels, I guess.
Chirpy13 says,
This level has great music. So, how do you play this level? Well, you do nothing. You do nothing for like 2 minutes and listen to the music. I'm only moving to collect items. You don't actually have to move. You can do this whole level only moving like 3 times just to move up or down.
Chirpy13 says,
actually, it might be possible to do this whole level without moving, maybe. I'm not sure, but it might be.
Power up final boss after dying in the speed tunnel.
Is this what you call methodical shmups? Or horizontal games? Very methodical. This is like the least methodical game I've ever played. Bullet hell games are methodical. This is not methodical. What is this? Is this a video game or like a time waster? What is the point of this? What was the point of that? I don't... I can't figure it out. And then look at this great boss fight. You'll see how amazing this boss fight is. Amazingly methodical. You're supposed to sit in here and do nothing. You do nothing for this whole game. Wow, such boss. So here's a level where you do almost nothing, but the main thing you have to do on this level is to watch out for things that are hard to see, that will kill you from the background. As long as you watch out for those hard to see things, the stage pretty much plays itself. I think there's one part where some rocks come out that could be difficult. If you don't know it's coming.
Does that snake boss at least have retarded hitboxes that kill you if you aren't tapping precisely enough?
I thought it might, which is why I always was very careful on it.
Typical for
I haven't gotten kill on that boss once, but I just assumed that the hitboxes might be bad and just decided to stay as far away from the boss as possible. Why take the risk, you know? You can't assume that the hitboxes correspond to the sprites in these games. I can't remember what the boss in this level is, but I'm sure it's easy.
Project Co says, it's ball fucker. Project Co says,
oh, it's the safe spot boss. Oh yeah. Yeah, so you can do that boss by safe spotting it. So I learned this the hard way. I actually died to this boss in a real run before this one, because I didn't safe spot quick enough. If you safe spot after these hatches have opened, it won't work. You have to safe spot before. Otherwise these balls will not go miss you like this. So at first I was doing this boss by just shooting and trying to beat it normally, but it wasn't consistent. It was very random if I would succeed or not succeed. So then I found this safe spot and yeah. This is another time wasting level. If you know, there's one thing in this level where you gotta be ready for it. If you are, it's totally free. So this is another time waster level. Basically you're just waiting for that part to come up where all you have to do is go right, left, right, left. It's not exactly difficult. Looks like I've sped up a bit too much. These are right, left, right, left. Wow, so methodical. And then you just stay here and go right eventually. like, you don't even need to practice this. You just need to look at a video and copy it. And you can do it on your first try. You don't need to practice it. So basically, you can learn this whole level in like 10 seconds by looking at one video. I don't even know what this boss does, because whenever I was fighting him, he didn't do anything. Like, he keeps shooting these balls, but there's like no balls. There's like nothing to dodge. Now this level seems like it has some things that you should learn. And I hadn't learned them. So this might be the most involving stage in the game.
Project Ghost says, you must have done that boss the hard way because I never remember seeing those balls, period.
I don't know, I mean, I don't think I looked at a video for that boss. I was just shooting him. There was no need to learn how to do anything. Yeah, I only played this at the very end of the tournament, when there was like 2 hours left or something, so there wasn't really enough time to learn more.
This is the best stage.
I think this is where I got tripped up. I didn't really know how to do this part. And if you die, it's pretty much over, right? Yeah. So that's Salamander. We got the number of the beast for our score. The end of the game was coming up, so we got pretty close to 1cc there. Because the last boss isn't really... It's more of a set piece. Like, you don't dodge or do anything, you just shoot the guy. And then there is an escape sequence which will eat some lives if you don't have it exactly memorized. So, but like, of course, you're supposed to know miss. So I lost 3 lives because I lost 1 life. If I hadn't lost 1 life, you know, I wouldn't have lost 3, I would have lost 0. It's that kind of game. Okay, next game is Space Bomber. It's a fun game. It was a bit easier to 1cc than I expected. Oh, this one. This game unfortunately does have some flaws. It could have been better. But the gameplay style is just really fun for me. I'm giving it a 7. I didn't spend too long trying to figure out how to score, but I did, you know, a little bit. Mostly on reaction. There was no need to learn more, since not many people were doing much for this game. If this was the Callus Cup, I think I would have just barely made a top 10 with this score.
At Chumlum, if I hadn't lost 1 life, I would have lost 0. Chirpy13 says, quote, add Chumlum, if I
think I'm waiting for a special item, right?
I would have lost 0.
Oh yeah, so it has these hidden special items at certain timers of the stage,
Project
at certain
Ghost
spots.
Says, Holy base
I think there's 3 of them.
Chirpy13 says, oh, it didn't go through the first time for me on the chat.
So yeah, how do you play this game? The screen doesn't scroll, but you can move up or down, so it's not like Galaga. But it does play a little bit like your usual Psycho game, but that's mostly noticeable on bosses. The bosses are really generic. But the stages are where it's different. You can eat and store up to 3 enemies. Your eat has a lot of range. The enemies you've stored when you've beaten a full world will disappear and you start from scratch. But it transitions over levels. Each world has 4 levels. 2 boss levels and 2 normal levels generally.
Chirpy13 says, this is such a wacky game.
You get score bonuses by when you have a stored enemy. You can either use the enemy's special move, which can do some nice damage or even shield you. That can be nice for bosses, but on stages you don't want to use that ever. On stages you want to do the other thing, which is to spit the enemy back out. So here I use a special move, which is different depending on the enemy you have stored. Spitting the enemy back out, the splash from the explosion will give you points depending on how many enemies it kills. If it kills 10 or more, you get 100k. And then the enemies also leave behind money bags that you can collect. As you can see, trying to score when you're getting like small splash doesn't do that much. Getting an almost 10 does a decent amount, but getting like 4 or 5 or even less isn't very noticeable. Now I think this, if you're serious about scoring this game, it's gonna suck because of these bosses, and also because of a bug, but mostly because of the bosses. Because you're gonna want to milk the bosses, and it's gonna be very boring, and it's gonna take a lot of time, and the bosses are very generic, so it's not gonna be fun. And so do not score this game. Even though the stages are really fun, do not score this game. It is certainly not a good choice because of those bosses. I initially thought this game was based. I now think this game is based only for a very casual play. Which is why I only got a very casual score. This boss is probably like the first thing in the game where, like, other than getting killed by Psycho insta-lasers, I guess, you might die to the bullet patterns if you're not prepared. He shoots these really wide patterns you have to macro around, and if you try to micro through them, it's gonna suck. And the first time you see that pattern, you're gonna be like, whoa, like, what do I do? I like the noise, like the little jingle that plays when you get 100k. It's nice. It's a good jingle.
Bap says, this game is something for sure.
Yeah, it's not bad. Oh, it looks like I forgot what this stage was. I think I thought I was on a different stage. Yeah, that's what happens when you're rushing runs for tournaments. Not enough time to fine-tune. Well, I mean, if you make the time, there's enough time. But like, if you choose not to spend that enough time, you're gonna just forget what you're even doing sometimes. That was one of those days. Thankfully, this game isn't that hard to once you see, so forgetting what level you're on and dying is forgivable. That sucked though, because that was one of the score levels, so I lost like 250k or something. That I could have gotten totally for free.
Chirpy13 says,
another death.
And there's the C.O.W laser.
Most of the levels I just did not memorize at all. I'm just like doing whatever.
Project Co says, this is one of the most fuck-upable levels.
Yeah. Kinda seems that way. This monkey's kinda weird. I didn't really understand him sometimes, but he always ended up working out from what I remember. What level is this? Oh, it's one of these fast UFO levels.
Chirpy13 says, he has the super monkey ball monkey hairs.
The monkey knights are scary because they can do weird things with the swords. Oh, I guess 5-2 is not a boss. At this point, I don't try to score anymore. Like I'm just trying to get rid of enemies. That means mashing the eat button a lot while shooting. It's another UFO level. These are ones you should try to score on, even if you don't have a route. You can just pay attention to what the UFOs do and try to score something. I think the next boss gave me some trouble, so I had to save state practice this boss. Yeah, I remember that. This boss has to be killed within a time limit, and you have to use the enemies for that. Basically, I want to kill this boss because he's gonna do that, and I want him to die before what he grabs comes back, because then it turns into another boss. World 6. Yeah, I don't remember this level at all. I guess you can tell based on my playing that I don't know anything that's happening. I think they made the difficulty of this game a little easier than most Psycho loops, just because you don't have bombs. So they made it a little easier. Like, most Psycho first loops wouldn't be this forgiving to just not know what's happening on at certain times. Unless you're bombing through it. That boss was easy from what I remember. You just gotta go around him and then remember that one of those shots is a freeway and not in a runway. What happened there? I guess I must have moved after he fired it or something, because from what I remember, you just sit still for that attack. Maybe I moved a bit right at the end or something. Last boss is actually pretty tricky. So I was glad to 1cc when I'm on my last life, because it's not a sure thing. It's actually pretty tricky, this boss. I think those are random. And then the rest I think is static. That was just a safe spot I picked up on with save state experiments. I was looking for some way to safe spot that attack, and so I was like just putting my ship in random spots until all the bullets went around me. So I found that spot. I don't know how other players do that. Now, this attack can easily kill you because you have to tap left, right, left, and you have to do it so that you end up inside the gap of those last bullets there. So, like you can't. I guess you can, but it's kind of hard to like react at the very end if you did it wrong or right. It's better to just do it right from the start. Tap left and right the right amounts. There you go. It's are there any Psycho shmups left that I haven't 1cc? Strikers 45 plus, yeah, that one. Never really played that one very long. I thought it was bad, so I didn't really play it. Warriors of Fate.
Sherpy13 says, "Did you 1 cubic centimeter show Anarchy?"
No. Is that Psycho? Oh wait, we played the Japanese one. This one. This is gonna be a long run. Wait, what? Oh, it's just wolf.
Sherpy13 says, "Legend of the Holy Protein Yat."
I didn't realize Shoaniki was Psycho. I thought that was the same guys who made Arrow Fighters. This is gonna be pretty long. But we're nearing the end. There's only 2 games left now. This game is like 1 hour long. I got the second. One guy was a beast at this game. He got 3 million points. Most 1cc score around 2 million or a little over that. And this game is hard to 1cc. Really hard. Okay. I'll give it an 8.
Chirpy Cartoon says, I think it's specifically that one game. I don't know about the rest of the series.
So it's pretty standard beat 'em up for gameplay. It's like Final Fights with attack combos, and you can hold up or down to throw left or right at the end of an attack combo. There are a couple of special moves, and basically throws and grabs, and normal attack string that ends with a throw. These are great moves, with this character at least. Some of the characters may be a little different, like there's an archer type character. Right now we're using the horse, and actually the horse is extremely bad and should not be used. But, here's the thing, using the horse gives you more points, so just at the start of the game I'm going to be using the horse for a bit. Using the horse is basically the big key to getting big points in this game.
Project Co says, game that is too goddamn long, Blueface.
Yeah, it is too long. It has great gameplay, but it is a bit too long. I agree with that. I also think they did an excellent job with like the feel of the game. It's got some really solid graphics and locales throughout. And the music just suits the game so much. So this that's something I did there. This character can either do a 2-punch into a throw attack string, or you can actually do a 3-punch into a throw attack string by delaying your second punch by like half a second, or slightly less than half a second maybe even. is necessary for that. Then you reset your attack string and you can do 3 punches into a throw. And doing this is actually useful for high HP enemies, like bosses. I did that there too. But it can be tricky to get the hang of. This game does not have running. You move very slow. We played this game without autofire, and I think this game is a lot easier with autofire, so I gave up on trying to 1cc during the tournament. I might try again with autofire now that it's over. Attacking faster just keeps you safe from something sometimes. It makes a big difference. Even if there's like obviously there's a limit to how fast you can attack enemies, attacking thin air faster keeps you safer. Looks like I'm gonna be milking this boss with the horse, but that's a mistake. Because the horse fucking sucks. Basically, I want what I really wanted was just to get a lot of bonus points on this boss without losing a life. And then I would stop trying to get bonus points with the horse later in the game. Some bad luck there. The boss can randomly run back to the horse, but if he chooses not to do that for a while, the horse will run away on its own, and fighting the boss without the horse is way easier. So we're getting some bad RNG. That's the third time he runs back to the horse. Looks like I'm not very happy, considering that I just stood still for like 10 seconds. That's probably the standstill frustration of where you're like, you don't care about this run anymore. It looks like I don't care about this run at all. And he keeps running back to the horse, this goddamn bastard. What an asshole. Losing a life is not good. It is really, really bad. You don't want to lose lives early. But I didn't want to reset. That's a trend you'll see with when I play games. Why would I want to redo like 10 minutes of gameplay?
It's amazing that the run where you don't give a shit anymore is taken.
Yeah, this run made it really far. Pretty. I mean, it didn't get super close to 1cc, but if I didn't lose that life, it would have helped a lot. It would have helped a lot with getting this 1cc. I didn't quite reach the final boss, but I did get to the end game. So if I didn't milk points, I probably would not have died to that boss. Probably. And also, if I didn't milk points, these runs wouldn't be taking so long to get this far. So if I'm specifically trying to 1cc, I would reset, because it wouldn't take as long to get back to where I was. But doing that horse shit again and again is like not fun. There is a horse here, and this is another horse. We're actually going to be using this horse for a while, but we're not going to be using it on the boss because it's too risky. We're just going to use it for normal enemies.
Chirpy13 says, would you say that the horse shit is horse shit?
Yeah, it's horse shit. Horse shit, yeah. Oh man, is that fish still? Oh yeah, the fish doesn't get off screen, because you can still scroll the screen back this much. Look at how bad it is to have the horse. You're so vulnerable. You'd think having the horse would be an upgrade, but no, it's defensively it's worse. Way worse. It's so dangerous to use this horse. Not off to a good start on this boss. It does take a while to kill this boss. Some of the bosses go by faster. It's just on those first two I was milking with the horse too, right? So they actually would have been a lot shorter if I didn't. This boss is not terribly difficult, but he just takes so long that bad things can happen. Mei Ling. We iframe through those knives, that's nice. Grabs in this game can be a bit wonky. Enemies lose their grab hitbox when they're like attacking and doing stuff. And sometimes the grab hitbox like gets teleported to behind the enemy. It's really confusing. But for the most part, the gameplay is pretty sensible. There is one more wonky thing though. So in beat 'em ups, it's not like a fighting game where you're moving only straight forward or straight backward, right? You move up and down too. So having like fighting game like input commands for moves is generally not a good idea. Because you could accidentally input a move while you're just dodging guys on the screen, right? This game does have some special moves that have those kinds of fighting game like inputs, where it's like down up attack or down or like down forward jump have special moves. But it's easy to do those moves just when you're dodging. So let's say you're dodging and then you want to jump, or let's say you're dodging and then you want to attack. You can do those moves on accident, and that could actually get you killed or at least hurt you quite a bit. It happens to me all the time. It's a bit of a shame. In general, you don't really want to use those moves. Not with this character, anyhow. They're not that good, and you're very vulnerable after you've used one. You can't do anything for a while. So an enemy will always just go up and attack you. Looks like I'm pretending I'm playing Final Fight with the backwards jumps. They don't do anything in this game. Wonder why he didn't throw the bomb. So these guys with the big muscles, they are the hard enemies in this game. They are the ones most likely to ruin your day. With only one exception, a very rare enemy that very rarely pops up, which is the woman. They are even more troublesome, but they are so rare. Generally in beat 'em ups, if there's women, they will murder you, and they are a lot tougher than the men. For some reason. It's just a general thing. Off-screen hitting is really strong in this game, but only with auto-fire. If you don't have auto-fire, it gets weaker. It can be risky sometimes without auto-fire. And auto-fire was not permitted, so... That's why I have to be a bit careful when I'm off-screen hitting. That was definitely an accidental special move. Another one. This boss is not too bad. It's kind of like the third boss. Probably won't kill you. It's kind of the same strategy too. He can block, and some of the bosses can block, and blocks cannot block a throw. So the only reason he could have blocked me was because I wasn't throwing at the end of the attack string. I was trying to do a third hit, and he blocked that. And that can be super dangerous. See, he blocked there, but I ended it with a throw. Can't be blocked, my friend. That's how throws are so powerful. I like beat 'em ups where throws are powerful in general. There's weapons too. So far you haven't seen me pick up a single weapon, have you? The weapons... weapons change the gameplay a bit. It simplifies it. Which can be bad. Some weapons are really good though, and the reason I use no weapons is actually because weapons give 0 score. So I just made a rule to not to use weapons. There should be a horse on this level. I might milk some points with it. Yeah, probably will. Because from what I remember, this milking points on this level isn't particularly risky. As long as you don't stick with the horse for the boss. Not the most fun thing to watch, but... well, it's just how the game was made. I don't think this is a very good score game. Like, if you want to enjoy this game, it's probably better to just ignore the existence of score. The boss on this level is super easy. I found that I could just trap him, and that usually I could just kill him in sometimes just one, or sometimes 2 or 3 tries. Of course, this strategy is horrible for score, but sometimes it's nice to be a bit safe, right? Man, that was a joke. After all that abuse the second boss put me through, it's nice to look at an easy one. This scene was cut out from the world version of the ROM, or the world version of the game. Some of the other scenes were too. This level is a step up in difficulty, not so much the level itself, just the boss. The boss is more difficult than any of the previous ones. Although the level is no joke either, it's just kind of short compared to some of the other ones. Fighting lots of Xiaos can be tricky. Oops. Accidental special. The biggest danger in this game. The audience is so lively. This screen is fun, because these guys are unpredictable as hell. It's just a fun enemy. I think it's boss time. Oh, apparently there's some more enemies first. I guess this stage wasn't as short as I remembered.
Project Nico says, holy fuck, this game is still going.
Oh, I mean, we're not even close to the end game. This is stage 6. There's 9 stages. But this boss is the first hard part of this game. It's 2 bosses actually, it's no joke. Let's see if I survive. I can't remember if I died or survived. I wonder if I should have picked up that weapon. It would have been risky since I'm not so used to using the weapons in this game. It changes the gameplay a lot. Ah, so close to not dying. Stage 7 is pretty tough too. Although Stage 8 and 9 is where the difficulty is clearly higher. Especially the Stage 8 boss is probably like the hardest thing in this game. Stage 9 might not be super hard, although the boss is kind of scary. Yeah, I'd say Stage 8 is the hardest level in this game. Alright, I'm back. Looks like we still haven't reached the boss. So I've seen that you can actually get a special weapon before this boss, but I didn't know how to get it, so I've played without it. Sticking to the no weapons rule. Not a real rule, just like a general rule. This boss is tricky, but it has less to do with the boss itself and more to do with his minions. He has these really hard minions. And the sooner you get rid of these minions, the better, because then they get replaced with easy ones. And when he has the easy ones, you can try to damage the easy ones less, so that they can last you longer, so that you can get more damage on the boss with easy minions. So these minions are a little easier, and we don't want to over damage them because of that. Now the next two bosses will be a big step up in difficulty from this one. Especially Stage 8 boss. Well, that went well. Okay, so stage 8. That's the hardest stage yet. Maybe the hardest in the game. The difficulty curve in this game is not steep. Like, it already gets kinda hard on stage 2. But it is clearly harder on stage 8 than on stage 2. It is definitely a lot harder. Just not as much as you might expect in most arcade games. These women are going super berserk. Sometimes they're a lot easy. They're just so random. Looks like that explosion hit me twice. And an accidental special. This is going south fast. Oh. Yeah. Stage 8 is no joke. That's Warriors of Fate. It's too bad we didn't once see this one. It's not an easy one, that's for sure. There's only one game left. Wild West Cowboys of Mesa. This is a 2-loop game, but I didn't clear both loops, so it won't be outrageously long. This game's really easy though. I mean, we easily could have cleared 2 loops. But yeah, I didn't feel like learning differences in the second loop. Just wasn't very interested in this game, to be honest. Long name. What was my rank? I think it was pretty low on this one. 6. This game, a 5 out of 10. It's just like Mystic Warriors and Sunset Riders, except it's not as good. It's not bad, but it's not quite as good as those. It's easier and it just feels a bit more empty, basically. The style is nice though, it's nice to look at, very colorful. But the game is just too empty. These shmup stages are pretty bad. They have nice music, but they are pretty bad. I didn't do any scoring, but apparently this game does have scoring, and it's broken and terrible. Infinite milk, and some kind of shoot the gun away from enemy mechanic. But I guess the infinite milk is the one that breaks the game. This game doesn't have like a good gameplay vision. It has a good artistic vision, which is, I guess, was necessary because it's cashing in on a TV show. It doesn't have a good gameplay vision. And bosses are bullet sponges too. If you pick stages in different order, it does increase the rank. It does make that stage harder. But yeah, I didn't play this game long enough to stick to a solid order. I just kind of picked... I think there were some stages I always picked in the same order. Maybe the first two. But then I just did different on different runs. Didn't seem to matter. Like, even if a stage was a bit different, it just wasn't different enough to really matter. This stage is one of the more fun ones to watch. It gets all psychedelic here. And it's not too long to get boring like the shmup stages. This stage is actually pretty short, thankfully. I feel like, yeah, they could have had more short stages, less long auto-scrollers for this game. Would have helped. It feels so crowded on this boss fight. There's no room to go anywhere. This snake looks so intimidating. But, yeah. You're not very intimidating. That boss is scarier than the other bosses. It just goes on and on. Oh, it's over. This game's got some great sound clips too. I think it's one more shmup stage now, unfortunately. Those are pretty crappy. Oh. Maybe it turns into a shmup stage halfway through. So I'm pretty sure there were two. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I remember this being super annoying and boring shmup stages.
Project Co says, I saw this game played so little by anyone.
Yeah, I didn't really watch anyone stream this at any point. I don't think. I may have played off stream, I can't recall for sure. Right now it's just the final level and then loop 2. But I'm not gonna clear loop 2. Loop 2 isn't too hard either, but it does have some differences that caught me off guard. So this game is super easy, but second half of the final level, you randomly need to know what you're doing. Especially on the last boss. But everything else is just cakewalk. This room has something really stupid. There's a chandelier at the top that you have to trigger to drop. But it's just bare, it's like pixel perfect to trigger to drop without walking off of a table. It's so dumb. It's this next one. Okay, now we're at the second half of the stage. This is where the game begins. I'd even go so far as to say this is where the game starts. Yeah, let's say that. There's a lot of things you need to be aware of on this level, and the boss is really hard. So here, there's gonna be rocks being thrown off of springs on the ground, and they damage you. They're not just part of the background. So you have to avoid them. If you die, your weapon will be too underpowered to kill these red guys before they hit you. It's fucking stupid. So don't die. You cannot die. It's not good. Do not die. I had a run that died, and then I just kept chain dying, because there was no recovering. So after I had that run that died, I got this run that didn't die, and then, you know, it's a whole different story. These doors suck too, because the bombs seem to explode at random. So sometimes the bomb will just keep going and not explode until the end. And then you can't avoid the explosion anymore. I'm not sure what the deal with that is. If there's some way to avoid that. Case in point. Final boss, it's hard as fuck. You want to keep your distance from him, not too far, not too close. And then watch out for one attack. If he uses that attack, you immediately have to turn around and use the dash move. But it can be hard to see because he can stand in the fog like this, and then you can't see if he's gonna use it. And also, you have to react like instantly. There is no time to waste. One extra life left. So there is a second loop. It's mostly the same shit. Pretty easy. But yeah, I'm gonna get cooked. Because there's one thing I just had no idea what the hell I was supposed to do. Let's speed up here. There we go, okay. Second loop. A couple of people did clear the second loop. Didn't seem like they had much issues doing it. So much HP. It's the first boss in the game, so I never learned his patterns. I didn't play this game very much.
Project Co says, Wood Face.
Yeah, I guess he had like 4 moves. Okay, so this level is fucked on Loop 2, and the reason I picked this level when I got the choice is because this level has an extra life. So I thought, okay, I'll pick the level with the extra life. That way, maybe I can get farther into the loop. Makes sense, right? Well, as it turns out, this level has something you really need to be prepared for. It's just an undodgeable mess. Just keep blocking me, I don't know what to do. Run past them. Okay. So how do you avoid this? That sucks. They're still coming. I thought I game over there. I must have misremembered. I guess I did get the extra life after all. So where did I game over then? Maybe the boss wrecked me. Yeah, I don't know what to do on this level. Alright, that's all the replays. Three and a half hours for 9 replays. It's more than I thought it would take. Alright, I'm gonna take a break now.
Project Co says, need another YOLO fast resident sleeper.
I don't know, man. I think people are a bit tired of them.